We are bombarded with information. Social media feeds, news websites, and even our inboxes overflow with content. Much of it is irrelevant, misleading, or simply untrue. This constant barrage of low-quality content has become a defining feature of the digital age. It's designed to be addictive, grabbing our attention with clickbait headlines and sensationalized stories. We scroll through endless feeds, consuming bite-sized pieces of information that lack depth or substance. This constant exposure to superficiality can have a profound impact on our minds and our society. We are drowning in a sea of noise, struggling to distinguish between what is valuable and what is not. The sheer volume of low-quality content can be overwhelming, leading to information overload and a sense of digital fatigue. It's time we take a step back and examine the impact of this trash content on our lives. Consuming excessive amounts of low-quality content can be mentally draining. It bombards us with negativity, sensationalism, and misinformation. This can lead to increased stress, anxiety, and a distorted view of the world. The constant need for novelty can also make it difficult to focus on tasks that require sustained attention. Low-quality content exploits our natural tendency by offering a constant stream of superficial stimulation. This can lead to a decline in deep reading, critical thinking, and the ability to engage in meaningful conversations. Our minds become accustomed to the instant gratification of shallow content. This constant exposure to negativity can also take a toll on our emotional well-being. We may become more cynical, skeptical, and distrustful of others. The curated perfection often presented on social media can lead to feelings of inadequacy and low self-esteem. Moreover, the spread of misinformation through low-quality content can have serious real-world consequences. We must be critical consumers of information, questioning what we read and verifying information from reliable sources. The pervasiveness of low-quality content is also eroding our social fabric. We are becoming increasingly isolated, retreating into our digital echo chambers, where we are only exposed to information that confirms our existing biases. This can lead to increased polarization and a decline in empathy and understanding. Meaningful conversations are becoming a rarity in the age of digital distraction. We are losing the ability to truly connect with others, to listen attentively, and to engage in thoughtful debate. Instead of face-to-face interactions, we rely on emojis and superficial comments to convey our thoughts and feelings. The constant pursuit of online validation can also have a detrimental effect on our relationships. This can lead to feelings of loneliness, isolation, and a sense of disconnection from the world around us. Children and young adults are particularly vulnerable to the negative effects of low-quality content. Their brains are still developing, and they are more susceptible to the addictive nature of digital media. Excessive exposure to this type of content can hinder their cognitive development, social skills, and emotional well-being. The constant stimulation provided by low-quality content can make it difficult for young people to focus on tasks that require sustained attention. It can also lead to shorter attention spans, making it challenging for them to engage in meaningful conversations or appreciate the nuances of complex issues. Furthermore, the unrealistic beauty standards and materialistic values often promoted through low-quality content can negatively impact young people's self-esteem and body image. It is crucial that parents, educators, and policymakers take steps to mitigate the negative effects of low-quality content on young minds. The rise of low-quality content is inextricably linked to the algorithms that power our digital lives. These algorithms are designed to keep us engaged, feeding us a steady stream of content that aligns with our past behavior and preferences. While this can be convenient, it also creates a filter bubble, limiting our exposure to diverse perspectives and reinforcing our existing biases. The more we engage with low-quality content, the more the algorithm feeds it to us, creating a vicious cycle of consumption. This can lead us down rabbit holes of misinformation, extremism, and sensationalism. We become trapped in echo chambers, surrounded by like-minded individuals who reinforce our existing beliefs, regardless of their validity. This algorithmic manipulation has profound implications for our society. It can fuel polarization, erode trust in institutions, and hinder our ability to engage in meaningful dialogue across ideological divides. Breaking free from the grip of these algorithms requires conscious effort. We can start by diversifying our information diets, seeking out different perspectives, and engaging with content that challenges our assumptions. One of the most concerning consequences of our immersion in low-quality content is the rise of echo chambers and the subsequent polarization of society. As algorithms feed us a steady diet of information that confirms our existing biases, we become increasingly isolated from opposing viewpoints. This creates a breeding ground for extremism, intolerance, and a decline in civil discourse. Within these echo chambers, nuanced discussions are replaced with simplistic narratives, often fueled by fear, anger, and resentment. Individuals are encouraged to view the world in black and white, with little tolerance for ambiguity or complexity. This can lead to a breakdown in empathy, as people struggle to understand or relate to those who hold different views. The consequences of this polarization are far-reaching. It can lead to political gridlock, social unrest, and an erosion of trust in institutions. In extreme cases, it can even contribute to violence and hatred. Addressing this challenge requires a multifaceted approach, including promoting media literacy and encouraging critical thinking. The first step in combating the negative influence of low-quality content is to cultivate awareness. We need to recognize the signs of trash content and understand its impact on our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. This involves developing a critical eye for sensationalism, misinformation, and emotional manipulation. One telltale sign of low-quality content is its reliance on clickbait headlines and sensationalized stories designed to evoke strong emotional responses. These headlines often lack substance and accuracy, prioritizing attention-grabbing tactics over factual reporting. Similarly, content that relies heavily on emotional appeals, such as fear, anger, or outrage, should be approached with caution. Another red flag is the absence of credible sources and evidence. Low-quality content often presents opinions as facts and fails to provide proper attribution or links to supporting information. It's essential to curate your information diet and prioritize content that is informative, uplifting, and enriching. Just as we make conscious choices about the food we eat, we need to be mindful of the information we consume. This involves curating our information diets, actively seeking out high-quality content from reputable sources, and limiting our exposure to sources that consistently peddle in misinformation, sensationalism, and negativity. Begin by diversifying your information sources. Instead of relying solely on social media feeds or a single news outlet, explore a variety of perspectives from reputable newspapers, magazines, and online publications. Seek out content that is well-researched, fact-checked, and presented in a balanced and objective manner. In addition to diversifying your sources, it's important to be critical of the information you encounter. Question headlines, check sources, and be wary of information that confirms your existing biases. Engage in respectful dialogue with people who hold different viewpoints, and be open to the possibility that your own perspective may evolve. Finally, consider taking breaks from digital media altogether to clear your head and reduce stress. Reclaiming our attention from the clutches of low-quality content is not merely a personal responsibility, it is a societal imperative. It requires a collective effort to foster media literacy, promote critical thinking, and demand accountability from platforms that profit from the spread of misinformation and the exploitation of our attention. We must empower individuals with the tools to navigate the digital landscape critically and responsibly. This includes educating people about the persuasive techniques used in advertising and propaganda, as well as the ways in which algorithms shape our online experiences. Media literacy should be an integral part of education, equipping young people with the skills to discern fact from fiction and to engage thoughtfully with digital media. Furthermore, we must hold platforms accountable for the content they host and the algorithms they employ. This includes demanding greater transparency in how algorithms work, as well as taking steps to mitigate the spread of misinformation, hate speech, and other forms of harmful content. Reclaiming our attention requires a fundamental shift in our relationship with technology. We must move away from a culture of mindless consumption and towards a more conscious and deliberate approach to our digital lives. Creating a healthier media landscape requires a collaborative effort from individuals, platforms, educators, and policymakers. We must work together to foster a culture of critical thinking, media literacy, and responsible digital citizenship. This involves promoting quality content, supporting ethical journalism, and demanding accountability from those who profit from the spread of misinformation. Educators play a crucial role in equipping young people with the skills to navigate the digital world safely and responsibly. This includes teaching them how to evaluate sources, identify bias, and engage in respectful online discourse. By fostering critical thinking skills early on, we can empower the next generation to be discerning consumers and responsible creators of digital content. Policymakers also have a role to play in creating a more equitable and accountable digital landscape. This includes addressing issues such as data privacy, online safety, and the spread of misinformation. By enacting sensible regulations and promoting transparency, we can create a digital environment that benefits all members of society. Ultimately, building a better media landscape is about fostering a culture of critical thinking, empathy, and respect for truth.